We now move from the study of sounds to the study of grammar. The word grammar is used in two senses. First, a grammar is thought to be everything that we know when we know a language, so we can talk about the grammar of English and include in that the phonology, the phonetics, the morphology, everything we've looked at so far, as well as grammar, meaning the syntax of a language. So grammar is used in a narrow sense, meaning syntax, and syntax is the structure of sentences, and it's to that topic that we now move on. Let's suppose that grammar is actually just the same as all the other things we've been looking at, and that it has to do with the linear order of things. What kind of units are there, and in what order do they come? Let's suppose that syntax, grammar, deals with the order of words in a sentence. We've seen that morphology deals with the order of units within a word. Phonology, among other things, deals with the order of units in a word, but this time it's the sound units rather than the meaning-bearing units. Well, sentences are the biggest thing we're going to study, and we're going to have a look at the structure of sentences and particularly at the order of words in a sentence, namely grammar. And we're going to suppose that sentences consist of phrases, and we're going to begin by looking at the grammar of simple phrases. Let's go back to something we did right at the beginning. We're going to suppose that certain word orders are grammatical and certain other kinds of word orders are not grammatical. If we change the word order in this sentence so that it's a grammatical word order, we would get the old man has been eating the chocolate cake. If we change the order of this one, we get the same basic sentence order, and the same with the third one. And you'll notice something interesting. The units that we've shifted around here, the old man and the chocolate cake in particular, have stayed together. They seem to have a need to stay together. Well, the things that have stayed together are phrases. Phrases are units that have particular properties, and we'll now look at ways to identify them. First of all, we've already seen that units that move together are phrases. Units that mean something are phrases, and we also have a substitution test. If you can substitute something for something that's a phrase, then it's a phrase as well. Here's the old man ate the chocolate cake. In the right order, this is perfectly grammatical. But this is another form of the sentence, really. What the old man ate was the chocolate cake, and we'll see that the old man and the chocolate cake are still together. If we say it was the chocolate cake that the old man ate, we've got a different word order, but the chocolate cake and the old man are still together in the same order, and so on. But this one, we've done something odd. The chocolate cake is still together, but here we've separated man from the old, and we've got something that's ungrammatical, as indicated by the asterisk at the beginning of the sentence. And here again, the situation's even worse, isn't it? The cake. What kind of a sentence is that? That isn't a sentence where the phrases belong together. Secondly, if we look at meaning, then phrases have integral kinds of meaning. They belong together. They make up a meaning. The old doesn't mean anything. Cake which the doesn't mean anything. This sequence in B could certainly come one after the other in a sentence, but that particular sequence isn't meaningful. The leathery isn't meaningful unless perhaps you set up a new bar and call it the leathery, then suddenly it becomes meaningful and it also becomes a phrase. In the cake ate, terrible. Large evil. You can't figure out the meaning of these sequences, although things sometimes come in that order. Look at substitutions. If we take the sentence, Davina sold petrol yesterday at the corner store, then we can substitute various kinds of things for Davina. My sister, for example. My sister sold petrol yesterday at the corner store. The old man in the leathery coat sold petrol yesterday at the corner store. Well, all of those are phrases, and they substitute for Davina, and she must be a phrase as well. Petrol sold biscuit tins, sold a large family home. Yesterday could be substituted for by in the afternoon. At the corner store, or the corner store, could be substituted for by any number of other phrases. Substitution's a very good test for phrasehood. If you know that something is a phrase, then anything that you can substitute for it and still make good grammatical sense is itself also a phrase. And we're going to use these tests later on when we look at the structure of phrases, because we'll find that phrases have an integrity, both in terms of their syntax and in terms of their meaning.